So I'm here at the Bayou in Brooklyn Cajun Zydeco Music Festival at Jalopy Theatre, and we're here with Lafayette, actually Texas, Beaumont, Texas boy, Ed Poullard, who's playing at the festival, and I want to ask him a few questions about his musicianship and how old he was when he first started playing, and how long he's been playing, and what he considers his style of music.
Sure.
Good start.
Style of music, as far as I guess, is the style of music that I grew up listening to and listen to my dad. My dad was an accordion player, so we kind of didn't have an idea he could play the accordion until one day he came home with one, and I was a young boy back in grade school then. And my dad took this little Horner HA 114 out of a box that he had bought at a pawn shop or something, and took it out and started playing, and that was my first exposure to the music I'm playing now. Back then, I was maybe, I don't know, 10, 11 years old maybe, and it started from there. Although it was infrequent times that we got a chance to hear him play, because he was working and raising a family back then. So it was mostly like a weekend thing when it started. And the more he played, the more I guess familiar he became with what he had forgotten, because he stopped playing for like 20 years. And he played when he was like 12. Played house dances way back in the early 1900s. And did a lot of that, when he was growing up. So when he started playing again, that was kind of our, I guess, cue to our culture. In other words, that was the light bulb that actually came on at that time, but we didn't know it. So the more we were around the music, myself and my brother and my younger brother, we started listening, paying attention. Didn't realize how much of the music we were retaining all through our young years and through our high school years and young adult years and all. And then when I was about, I guess, I don't know, maybe 18, 17, I was still in high school. It was younger than that, because I was playing football in high school. I was in the 10th grade maybe. And my cousin started coming. My dad's brother's son came to Beaumont and spent a week, and he and my dad started playing. Well, I didn't know he could play the guitar, see? So that kind of thing started happening. My dad would sit, and my cousin would sit and play the guitar. So the first thing that I learned was a guitar. And I sat with my cousin and learned the guitar. Now, this is a real young age, too. 10th grade in high school, and then got pretty good pretty fast. Like I said before, not realizing all that I had retained from listening growing up to that point.
Right.
So my dad started playing a couple of, church dances and private parties and stuff like that, and I got pretty good on the guitar, and I decided I wanted to play something else. I was in the middle of getting ready to get out of high school and go to the Air Force and all this. So I started playing the accordion before all this Air Force and all that other stuff started. So I actually cut my teeth doing it before, and then when I came back home after the Air Force, I really got serious about doing it. And I was still in my 20s, early 20s, and I started learning the accordion, and I had my dad just sit there and show me everything, and it was a slow process at first, but I progressed pretty fast again, like I said. But my dad was at work, so I had to tape everything he did and go back and listen to what he was doing on the tape player and try to rearrange my thoughts and get all that situated to where I could do this while he was at work, see?
Yeah.
It wasn't that he was forbidding me to use the instrument or anything, because he told me to go ahead and try,
Right.
and go ahead and go. So I did that for, I spent a year while I was working, and wasn't working, I'd stay home and sit and listen to recordings when I was cutting grass. I listened to him, not a bunch of recordings,
Right.
just him. And I started really coming along playing to where I played some songs on the recording that he didn't even realize it wasn't him playing. So that was a pretty fair accomplishment in my mind.
Yeah, no shame.
So I continued on doing that
Awesome.
for years and joined my dad's band, playing guitar and bass and even drums at the time too. So the music style I play is back then it was called French music. It didn't have these labels on it like they have now.
Oh, the French music?
Yeah, it was called French music.
Oh.
Louisiana French music is what it was. And I guess when the music started getting more commercial, started going beyond the state line and more people getting exposed to it, which more people got exposed to the culture as well, that's where the Cajun and Creole, I guess, label first appeared. Mm-hmm. And that's since then it's stuck. It's stuck. So I'm playing, as far as style of music, I'm playing Louisiana French music, which today, if it were done by identity, would be a mixture of both Cajun and Creole.
Okay.
To answer your question.
And you still play both fiddle and accordion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I learned the fiddle as a result of a real serious accident I had with my right hand. I couldn't play the accordion no more.
Oh.
So I was driving trucks and got hung by my ring finger, and that put me out of commission playing anything on this hand. So
Right.
during that time, my grandfather passed away. My dad, being the oldest in his immediate family, got my grandfather's fiddle.
Oh.
My grandfather was a fiddle player.
Oh, wow.
And he actually played with Dennis McGee and some of the bigger
wow.
names
Oh, wow.
that were there back then, when I was growing up. And, as a result of me getting injured, I didn't want to stop playing the music. So my dad wasn't playing the fiddle. He didn't know how to play it either. So we both sat there and looked at it, said, one of us has got to learn how to play this. So I started doing it and trying to find people to help me out there locally. Beaumont's not it's a lot of Cajun Creole influence there, but musically back then it wasn't. There wasn't that many people playing that I could go to and get guidance on what to do and where to do it on the neck and all that. So I started traveling back and forth to Louisiana. That's when I met the Ardoins, Wassac Ardoins family. And back then, Canray Fontenot was a fiddle player with him. Then got a chance to hang out with him. And he taught me some stuff, but when it really got serious, I started playing and progressing, although much slower on that instrument than it was on the accordion. I started taking things on my own and combining it to what he showed me and what I heard my dad do on the accordion, and just kind of making a mixture of things as they were. Whatever came out was fine. I applied, sought out and applied for and was granted a grant by the state of Texas to study fiddle with Canray Fontenot. And I did the whole span of the apprenticeship was like 10 months. And I drove back and forth to Louisiana on my off days, which was pretty often, and sat with him, and he taught me, and we sat and played together. And at the end of that apprenticeship program, we had to do like a showcase in San Antonio, Texas, at the Texas Folklife Festival. And from that point on, I just took off. He and I hit it off together, and we were big buddies. We started doing a lot of festivals together because he knew I played the accordion too.
Right.
So Canray's daddy was an accordion player. He said he didn't like the accordion because it was limited to what you could do with it, note-wise. And he didn't like the accordion, but his daddy was a real good accordion player. So he and I hooked up and got my brother. My brother lived out on the West Coast in the Bay Area, and we started doing the festival tours all over. Canray and the Poullard brothers.
Nice.
So that's how it all basically how it all started.
Yes.